So let's continue on. So what do you guys think of the deck so far? I'd love to hear in the comments below. Did you think that it would play that well? Did you think that we got lucky in that last game? Are we going to run into color problems in these next games? Are we too slow? Let me hear your thoughts. Okay, so 4, got Impassioned Order. So not a lot going on here. Our opponent is drawing first, so we are unfortunately kind of slow. But it's hard to turn away a hand that gives us all our colors that we need. So we're going to keep. Ooh, our opponent off with the aggressive Rakdos start. Akaya's Wrath, that is probably good for us to see. So we want to build towards that. Eventually we will have all the colors we need to cast it, which is great. So we're going to start with an Orzhov Guildgate here. So yeah, I'd love to see our opponent just flood the board here while we don't have like any creatures to play, and then Kai's Wrath and get them. That would be lovely. So now we are going to do the Rakdos Guildgate because we have an Azorius Locket we can play. Opponent going to deal 1 to each of us. Okay, we're going to take 2. Okay, so now we play an Azorius Guildgate and pass the turn. Sure. And yeah, hopefully our opponent plays 1 or even 2 more creatures next turn. And we will just be living the dream. We will have taken quite a bit of damage, but potentially 3 or 4 for 1 our opponent. It never feels too bad. Oh, we got a viewer in chat. Oh, good play from our opponent. We are going to get punished for our slow play here, but couldn't have played much different. Maybe they just won't notice the Kaya's Wrath, but yeah, they got us. Well-timed drill bit there from our opponent. So now what do we need to do to not lose this game here? I don't think we play out anything this turn. So do we need to double play? We can play out an Impassioned Orator and a Concordia Pegasus this turn. Gain us a little bit of life and give us some blockers. Sure, why not? Play this. Sure. Opponent spewing at us, and then following it up with a Concordia Pegasus. So, keeping us in the game. Man, perfect card, opponent. Rakdos Trumpeter. Be a tough guy to block here. Let's see if our opponent has any attacks. Opponent attacking with Ferromaka. We'll throw our Concordia Pegasus in the way. If our opponent has a combat trick, they have a combat trick. Nope. Okay. He's just trying to scare us. Okay, so we will play our Orzhov Guildgate here into our Ooh. Okay, so we're gonna go 1. Oh, it doesn't really matter too much, but still. 2 to play our Azorius Locket. And then that way we can leave up for final payment and pass turn. Nope, taking 1 damage from the Spewer. Next. Oh, no attacks. In turn. Another damage from the Spewer. Let's chase away the crows. Another drill bit from our opponent. So, do we need to use this final payment now? Get 2 for 1 ourselves? Is there anything that we just can't deal with here? No. Go for it, opponent. So our opponent with a good double drill bit play. Do we want to get rid of this Rakdos Trumpeter? Don't think we want to take 4. So if our opponent has the combat trick, they have the combat trick. I know they can pump it. I don't mind trading one of my creatures for one of their creatures. That's fine. Okay, Archway Angel. How good are you right now? Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pretty darn good. So we can play our gate and tapped and still play our Archway Angel. And now we're back in this game. Never didn't have it. Let's see. So now do we start attacking and racing our opponent? They can do 4, we can do 4. Probably not. No attacks. Ooh, good play from our opponent. Rubblebelt Recluse. Pretty aggressive creature. So now we really need to draw some of our removal off the top here. Cry of the Carnarium. That is removal indeed. So let's play this. It's not enough removal, but it'll help. No attacks here. Just want to keep the creatures back for any haste creatures that I might have. Maybe should have attacked with Archway Angel first and then cried, but live and learn. Do we want to take 6 here? I think we can take 6 once, but probably not again. We're drawing slow. We don't quite have enough to draw from our Azorius Locket either, which is unfortunate. Okay, 3 at our opponent. This time we are going to chump block. We are going to chump block. There we go. because I don't want to just be a combat trick away from dying. That would be unfortunate. It's going to be expensive, but we can draw with our Azorius Locket. And a couple cards in our deck that would be nice to get right now. We don't have any white left. I was like, why can't we attack? Yep, we don't have any white left. So, one attacker. Okay. Thankfully, this Knight of Sorrows is a decent blocker here. Thirsting Shade, okay. So, we've only used 2 pieces of our removal, so we have plenty left to draw. We're definitely not out of this game yet. We also have some hefty creatures we can put on the board. That is a pretty decent one. So let's go to combat. All attack, 1 attacker. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, which should be more than enough to play both of these. So we're going to play our Knight of Sorrows. And then we're going to play our Orzhov Enforcer. And in turn. I'm going to save our Azorius Guildgate, again, because we might need to recur our Gate Colossus in the future. And so having an extra gate in hand is pretty nice. So our opponent doesn't have any great attacks now. They're going to have to attack into this Death Touch guy. So unless they have a piece of removal or a way to give first strike. Okay, so double attacking. We're going to block here. Our opponent has 4, 5, 6. So they can pump twice, gain 3. Sure. It's a trade that I'll take. And then I think our opponent loses. Oh no, I forgot they gain life. Well, I think our opponent is close to losing. Okay, so now we go to combat, all attack, and then throw out our Concordia Pegasus, and end the turn. And looking pretty good. We'll see what our opponent has to change the circumstances around, but we are a turn away from winning here from what started off pretty nasty. MVP goes to the Gateway Angel here, as we expected it would. Okay. Our opponent showing their hand for us. Sure. We'll block this Knight of Sorrows. Does it have trample? Doesn't have trample. Sure. Nice play by our opponent with that what's it called? The Macabre Mockery, getting our own creature, then having it die for the spirit. So if we don't hit this here, we lose. So as much as I hate to just show our opponent that we have Bedevil, we're going to show our opponent that we have Bedevil so that we can just win the game here. Winning the game is more important than keeping back the knowledge of the card, and one to guarantee that we wrap that up. Okay, so what do we need for our opponent here? Footlight Fiend actually might be reasonable in this. It seemed like they had a couple 1-mana creatures. Being able to trade off for their earlier creatures is probably good for us. So maybe go down a Vizkopa Vampire to play the Footlight Fiend. Seems good. Do I like Vizkopa better than I like Haas the Officer? Actually I do, just because Vizkopa has a little bit more options to cast it, and it has the lifelink, which will keep us in the game in a more aggressive deck. So I think that's the only trade that we need to make here. Don't think we need a combat trick. Our blue cards aren't worth sideboarding in. Scorch Mark is iffy. It would be a fine piece of removal. I just don't know if we would get it and the colors that we needed in time. So we're gonna run it back with Footlight Fiend and see how that does. So we got some more viewers in the chat. Welcome to Sanctuary Gaming Club. Love to know how you guys found us. Weirds Gaming. I see that you followed. Thanks for following Weirds Gaming. Again, love to hear how you found us, what you think of the channel so far. Okay, we got our colors. We got some early creatures to play. We are going to keep this, and eventually we might be able to get our Gateway Colossus on board. Okay, we're going to start with our Orzhov here. Footlight Fiend from our opponent. We could play slow and start pumping up our, reducing the cost of our Gate Colossus, but I think we want to get out some early blockers and also start gaining life. I want to get this Impassioned Orator out, so we're going to go ahead and do that. Okay, no blocks. Don't want our Impassioned Orator to die to a Footlight Fiend here. That seems bad. Drill Bit from our opponent. Expected that. Thankfully, we don't have a Kaya's Wrath for them to nab this time. Okay. So what do we want? I'm gonna play Arachnus. Sure. Do we want? Yeah. Do we want to put this on top right now, or do we want to draw more things? We will decline. Actually, I'd rather draw something besides that. And now we're gonna play our Concordia Pegasus. This would be a decent blocker for Footlight Fiend here. Sure, if our opponent has the combat trick, I'd rather them use it now against one of our more valuable creatures. Bladebrand, that's fine. So our opponent trading 1 for 1 because their Bladebrand replaces itself, but I'd much rather lose Bladebrand to that, or lose Concordia Pegasus to Bladebrand. Brand. There we go. I can do words. And now we get to double play, so we're going to play out our Vizkopa Vampire, followed by our Footlight Fiend. Let's see what our opponent has. Rule Locket from our opponent. Not terribly afraid of that. Though again, I've said this so many times. The art is just great. I love how different all of the lockets look, and this one looks amazingly Gruul. Just a little piece of something carved out in a skull. Let's see. Okay, so we're gonna go into combat. I imagine our opponent has a piece of removal here for our Viscopa Vampire, but we'll see. Nope. That 3 life is great. So now we can play Azorius Locket into Imperious Oligarch, and suddenly we're the aggressive deck. Okay. Play out our planes. The Devil doesn't do anything for us here because he'll still get to pick off something with Footlight Fiend. So, I guess we... Do we have enough to draw off this Azorius Locket? Not yet. So now we go to combat. This Footlight Fiend is going to be pretty good for our opponent because they're going to be able to get 2 of our creatures here, and there's not too much we can do about it. Besides just not attack, and not attacking also seems very bad. So we're gonna attack. I feel much more confident that we win the long game before our opponent does. Our opponent didn't show us anything to be afraid of last game. Opponent probably going to take our Footlight Fiend. Okay, that's fine. Resolve, and then we're going to get a 1/1 flyer, which is just fine for us. Okay, in turn. Rakdos, Rustabout, okay. Resolve, and I think, let's see, we're not going to bedevil that because it's not too much of a threat right now. We can just keep our Footlight Fiend to back to block it and attack with our Spirit in the Air. I do wish we could Azorius Lock it, but we just don't have the right colors at the moment. So I'm going to pass to my turn. Law Mage's Binding, that is a fine piece of removal to use on this guy. I just didn't want to use my only piece of removal right then, just in case a bigger threat came out. But now that I have that, that's fine. And now we can go to combat and get in for 2. Lest our opponent has something. Spirit Mangler enters the battlefield, target creature with flying, sure. Now, I don't know why our opponent did that pre-combat or during our declare attackers. They should have waited until we declared our attackers and then ambushed us, but now we get to decide whether or not we want to attack anything into it. And I want to attack only my Footlight Fiend into it. Sure. Chase away the birds. Ooh, okay. So our opponent sacrificing their board so they can get some card advantage. Actually, wouldn't mind them playing something. Okay, Thirsting Shade. You got it, opponent. Yeah, we'll probably go ahead and get rid of this Thirsting Shade because we don't want them pumping it and gaining life. Okay, so shouldn't matter too much, but we are going to go ahead and play the Spirit of the Spires here, give our creature, our flyer, an extra point of toughness, and then go in for the attack and pass turn. So besides being 3 cards behind our opponent, everything is looking pretty decent here. Opponent still searching for answers. Okay. We are going to go ahead and we're going to run out this Guild Gate because I would like to get to where I can sack my Azorius Locket to draw some cards. We're going to go all attacks here, and if our opponent wants to trade our Feral Macha for our Footlight Fiend, we'll do that. Oh, I forgot. My bad. Let's see if that comes back to bite us. Rakdos Rustabout. It's fine. And Smelt Wardingness. Also fine. I'll play this out. Oh, I forgot that was in the bottom of our deck. Now we probably do want that back. Or that was in our graveyard. Yeah. Bit of a misplay on my part there. But let's see. So yeah, I think we definitely want that back. Shame on me, guys. We are going to Law Mage's Binding just to get rid of this Rustabout. And then attack in the air here. So yeah, forgot that our Gate Colossus was down there. Maybe should have held back that Law Mage's Binding. I have to remember that it has Flash. That's a pretty powerful effect, but it's not looking like it's going to matter too much. Spikebill Actobrat, that's fine. Still no flyers. Nope. And then Gate Colossus. Okay, so we got some options our next turn. And our opponent doesn't have many. Let's see if they're able to pull anything out here. Act of Treason. Not even terribly afraid of that. Let's see if if our opponent has a Burn Bright, maybe we're in trouble here. So 10, 15. Yeah. Guess Burn Bright could have been bad for us. Skewer the Critics. They were close. So close. Nice, yeah. Our opponent was setting up for a pretty powerful Alpha Strike. We could have got there. But thankfully luck was on our side, and now we have 2 wins. So let's head towards our big 3rd win here. Pretty excited going forward, but also this usually seems to be the point where we hit a bit of a wall. Even though we have no losses going in, it's very possible we might get 2 losses here in these next 2 games. So let's see if we're able to pull it out to get to our 3rd win or not.